Hello everyone, I'm coming to you again from my smartphone here because I wanted to give an update on the Sanyo V-Cord that I got several months back. I know I did not make any more follow-up videos because I realized that this thing was going to need a little bit more effort to get back up and running. It was not going to be a simple belt swap and all that. So, what was wrong with this thing? First off, I should say this thing is not 100% working. Let me just start out with that. So, it's currently on long play. If I switch it to standard, yeah, it's acting like it's paused when it shouldn't be. And if I hit pause, you only get half of that image there, but of course it rolls up because there's basically no sync going on. So that's like the major thing left on this thing, is that it's not playing back standard play tapes. Also, I feel like there's a little bit of excess wow and flutter on the audio here. I'm guessing there still might be a little bit more cleaning I need to do on the capstan motor from the old belt. That's what I think that's about. But, so, what did this thing need? So, in my first video, I mentioned how the heads looked like, you know, they were dirty or whatever. Well, it turns out the heads were not there at all. I guess the original owner opened this thing up to get a look inside, and he just cleaned the heads incorrectly and snapped them off. You know, just great. You know, it's not like this stuff is rare enough as it is. Now you're just, you know, making parts more scarce. So because I have gotten the odd units since last year, I did have a spare head disc. Getting the head disc off this, I should first note that that I did get another Toshiba. It's right there, from Japan. However, that thing came with like all the circuit boards like extracted from it. Like that thing was salvaged for parts, except for the mechanism, which is great. So at first, because I couldn't get the disc out, the disc was like really stuck in there. I first thought, oh, let me just swap the heads from the Toshiba. Well, I forgot to realize that I should have made marks on where the original heads were, so I could get the alignment, just right. Because without that, it's basically going to be nearly impossible to get the alignment right, considering, we're dealing with really fine, video fields here. So I realized I was screwed there, and that I would have to, really try again with the head disc. So, what the service manual recommends is that you put in, 2 screws here in these holes, and then, you can screw them in. That'll also let the disc a little bit off the rotor, as well as give you something to, grab onto as you pull off. So that's what did the trick, and I was able to replace it with my one good-ish head disc left. And, basically Bob's your uncle. So that's really exciting. That we have another one of these, in service back on planet Earth. It's just really good. So the reason, one thing why it would not play SP tapes is that on the replacement head disc, the head that takes care of standard play tapes, that head was chipped. Now, that's how it came to me. I did not chip it. I'm not that incompetent. So, yeah, it's just one thing after another with these damn units. So, let's see, which head is it? I believe this is the head here. So, my thought is it should be possible, as long as I mark it on the disc where the original head is, it should be feasible just about to get this head. This head is from the junk Toshiba. To get that head on there, and then just further dive into the circuit and figure out why it won't, go forward in standard play, why it's acting like pause. So that's where I am with that. If that can happen, well then at least, let me put this away. If that can happen, then we at least have long play capability. Now, I already have, a working unit, but again, that one can't play standard play tape, so that's just great, So I already have, someone in line who would be interested in this. I was going to hold this on to him until he, tells me that he won't end up needing it, and then I'll worry about finding this another home after I have my, fun with it. You can kind of hear in this song that there's a little bit of a pitch shifting that shouldn't be there. I should probably also find like a thicker belt, because I'm using a generic like flat belt that I had in my kit. I imagine like if I got like a wider and little shorter belt, that would help with this. But I mean, at least we're getting a picture in line, so that's good. And yeah, commercial cut because the original owner just had to save tape, even though he left the remaining 50 minutes of tape absolutely blank. That's just great. So I'm going to put this thing back together and just play a tape through it. Because let's see, as I'm recording this is a Sunday, June. Oh bother, I can't remember the date. Oh well. Point is, this is the last Sunday before the CED workshop this coming weekend. I'm thinking about possibly bringing this there so that I can, dive back in to the circuitry and all that and attempt the head swap there. Again, that's going to be really nerve-wracking, considering, I have to make sure not to damage the other two heads trying to change that one. But I mean, learning a lot, with this unit. I learned, well, if you're going to replace heads, make sure you make a mark right on the metal where the originals were, so that you can get the alignment correctly and all that. So just learning stuff to put in the notebooks for future, for other people and for future generations to know what to do when they come across one of these relics. So I'm pretty happy with where this unit has since come. Another thing that I had to do, so the loading motor, the gear attached to that, I actually have it right here. So this gear had a crack. It's actually right there. You can kind of tell. I did attempt to plastic weld that. However, it still didn't really do anything. So I just ended up scrapping the one for my junk Toshiba there. So, good. It's always good to. It was still a good purchase, that one, since I now have spare parts for these mechs, since they're only getting harder to find as time goes on. Before I forget, maybe I should show you where the RF point on these units are. So this board here is the playback board, the luminance playback board. Color is done by this board, but this handles the incoming RF off the tape. And I can't remember which one of these is the record board. So the test point is test point 151. It's going to be this guy here. Get your probe scoped on. Get your probe clipped on there. I'm going to hit play and you'll see the RF. So that's what it looks like. That's pretty alright. You would adjust. So that's the entrance guide and that's the exit guide right there. They're locked in by hex keys, so you need the right size hex key for that. And then you can undo the Phillips head, and that adjusts your tracking on this format. That's how it's done. To remove the heads and the upper drum, since I've been talking about removing the head discs and all that. So there's those 3 Phillips screws there. There is a locking screw at the end of that connector that uses... I should have the bit somewhere. No, that's too big. Should be this one here. This is like... I didn't have a right size hex key, so I had to use this. This is about... I gotta put this up to my 1.3, whatever that's worth. Undo that at the end, then make sure you're holding on to the upper drum as you do that, so it doesn't tip over and like touch the heads. You want to lift that up, and then you can like move that out of the way, and then you'll have access to the heads. So that's how that works. So that was basically the last I wanted to show. If I bring this to the workshop, I might maybe make a little, time-lapse video showing, myself looking at this with the SP thing. But that, I guess that'll be determined. It depends on what mood I am in at the time. So I'll put the rest of this back together. I'll put it aside for stuff to bring with me to Indianapolis. And again, I was really happy that this thing did end up working in some capacity. So, any partially working V-Cord player has to be worth something, right? So, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good rest of your day.